Alright guys, so in this video, I want to talk about one of the most important truths that God ever revealed to me. And it's totally backed up by the Bible, it's backed up by scripture from Genesis to Revelation. So this right here is a model of the real world we live in, guys. As you can see, it's a flat, circular earth surrounded in a solid dome, which is the sky we look up at, which is called in the Bible the firmament. Now, this is found in Genesis chapter 1, the very first chapter of the Bible, and I'll show you guys where it talks about the firmament, okay? Get that for you real quick. Okay, now as you can see, it says, "And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which are under the firmament from the waters which are above the firmament." So this is the firmament, guys. It's a solid dome. This is the sky that we look up at. It's real. We don't live on a globe. We don't live on a sphere. Now, this is another version of the Bible, the contemporary English version. And I'll show you this real quick, where it literally translates the word firmament as dome. Let me get that for you guys real quick. Okay. God said, "I command a dome to separate the water above it from the water below it." And that's what happened. God made the dome and named it sky. So those were the same two verses, just two different translations. The word firmament means dome. This is a solid dome. Okay? I'm going to stop the video here and continue in a second. Now look at this, guys. This is Proverbs 8:27. "When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth." Now, geometrically, a face is a flat surface, and the depth is talking about the ocean. So let's look at this, guys. There is literally a compass built in to the flat earth we live on, okay? So as you can see, north is forward, east is right, south is backwards, and west is left. And they're correlated with degrees along this flat 360-degree circle. So as you can see, north is 0 degrees, northeast is 45, east is 90, southeast is 135, south is 180, southwest is 225, west is 270, northwest is 315, and then back to 0 degrees with north. Okay, guys? So the earth is a flat 360-degree circle with each direction correlated with degrees upon the circle. That's why it says in the scripture here, "When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth." There's literally a compass built into the earth we live in, surrounded in a solid dome called the firmament. Now, why do our compasses always point north? This brings us to our next point, guys. As you can see, if I hold this compass over this map, over this 3D diagram, it lines up perfectly. But what is it pointing towards? What is that magnetic compass dial magnetically attracted to? Well, it's actually pointing towards a giant magnetic mountain, which is called Mount Zion. This is actually God's mountain, a mountain hundreds of times bigger than Mount Everest, and it has a magnetic pull to it, okay? The compass dial is pointing towards Mount Zion. Have you ever heard the expression, a moral compass? Why is that? Because God is calling us home. God is calling us to heaven, the Mount Zion. Our moral compass, if we're a decent human being, should be pointing north, literally pointing north towards heaven, towards God's holy mountain, towards where God lives, which is Mount Zion. Now, this Mount Zion idea is also backed by scripture, guys, okay? I'm going to show that in the next clip. Now, this is where it all comes together, guys. Read this, Psalm 48:2. "His holy mountain, beautiful and majestic, brings joy to all on earth." Mount Zion, truly sacred, is home for the great king. God is there to defend it and has proved it to be its protector. It's talking about Mount Zion. Now, let's look at Revelation chapter 14, verse 1, where it talks about Mount Zion again. Let me show that to you guys. One second, guys. Here we go. Okay. "I looked and saw the Lamb standing on Mount Zion." The Lamb is Jesus Christ. "With him were 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written on their foreheads." And look at this, guys. In Psalm chapter 125, verse 1, it says, They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. That's because this mountain is God's holy, eternal mountain. This is God's throne. This is where God lives. And as I was saying before, the compass dial points north towards Mount Zion. So because this dial is pointing north, you can literally imagine thousands of miles in this direction, there is a giant Mount Zion. Now read this, guys. This is Psalm chapter 121, verses 1 through 2. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Now let me show you guys something really cool. This is Revelation chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. It says, After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was a voice of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show you these things which must be hereafter. And immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on a throne. Now I believe this throne is talking about Mount Zion, God's mountain, God's throne. And now it says, And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper, and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne in sight like unto an emerald. Now, bear with me, guys. I'm going to explain this, okay? So we have a rainbow around the throne. Now, if this northern mountain is God's throne, is Mount Zion, and there's a rainbow around it, well, guess what, guys? Guess what the color emerald is? It's the northern lights. Northern mountain, north, emerald rainbow surrounding his throne. I swear that's talking about Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, because that is the color of emerald. Okay, guys? The northern lights surrounding the northern mountain, Mount Zion. This is God's rainbow, which surrounds his throne, the northern lights. Okay, guys? So that's about it for this video. Now, guys, if you're wondering where the sun, the moon, and the stars are, they're all inside the firmament, inside the dome. And the scripture confirms this. In Genesis chapter 1:14, it says, God said, I command lights to appear in the sky, which is the dome, and to separate day from night, and to show the time for seasons, special days, and years. I command them to shine on the earth. And that's what happened. God made two powerful lights, which is the sun and the moon. The brighter one to rule the day, which is the sun, and the other one to rule the night, which is the moon. He also made the stars. Then God put these lights in the sky, which is the dome, guys, the firmament, okay? Because we can see over here it says, God made the dome and named it sky, okay? God looked at what he had done and it was good. Evening and morning came and it was the fourth day, okay? So this is the truth, guys. This is the reality of the world we live in. We do not live on a globe. We do not live on a sphere moving through infinite outer space. We don't live in an infinitely expanding universe. The sun is not 93 million miles away. The earth is not moving. The earth is still surrounded in a dome, and the compass points towards Mount Zion. I swear to God, this is the truth, guys. This is the biblical truth that God revealed to me years ago, and people didn't believe me because people are deceived by Satan, deceived by the enemy. And let me show you a scripture that confirms that millions of people are deceived, guys. And I'm not saying you need to agree with me or believe me to be, and if you're not, you're deceived. But this is the truth. This is the truth that God revealed to me. Now, if we look at Revelation 12, verse 9, it says, And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So if it says the devil and the Satan deceive the whole world, there are many deceptions in the world today, but one of them is the idea that we live on a globe, a sphere moving through outer space. That is not biblical at all. If that's true, then why does the Bible talk about the firmament? Why does he say the sun, moon, and stars are in the firmament? And what's all this talk about Mount Zion in the book of Revelation and in the Psalms and in the scripture? It doesn't add up. We don't live on a globe. We don't live on a sphere. NASA's fake. NASA's lies. Hope this helps, guys. God bless.